to report in case there's no serial number. So we just put it on there as like a maybe, right? We don't need it. We'll take it off at the end. But it's just in case, so we know their costs. Same thing with the $200 on the final inspection fee. So it's just if the appraisal comes back, we need to do some repairs. They're going to pay about $200 on that reorder on the appraisal. So we just put it there. Same thing, just kind of disclose your numbers, and I explained to them like, hey, these are just a maybe, not necessarily you're going to have to do this. But that way you at least know more your real numbers if it did happen, let's just say. And then the processing fee, I just use somebody who helps process the paperwork, but usually I end up covering that $9.95, and you'll see it at the end, so that ends up coming off too. And then C, just title fees. So I don't know if Megan, you want to say anything about that?
I'll do whatever.
Yeah, all right. So we'll skip that. We'll let her. We'll let her go through that one. But same thing, kind of I tell people title fees are going to end up being higher than what they really are, and we'll fix that as we move along. And then in this case, being a VA loan, you have the WDO, so that's your pest inspection there, and because of the manufactured house, you have your engineer certificate and well and septic. So any of those extra inspections, again, lender dependent, but for the most part, most lenders have them in that section C. Any of those extra inspections that might be required for a specific house. And then outside of that, you have your prepaids. And do you guys know how that works with prepaids?
Tell us.
No. So prepaids, it's like let's say every dollar counts on a loan, which sometimes it happens, especially in my case, I deal with a lot of Hispanics. Every dollar really counts. So prepaids is basically where you're paying an interest, depending on when you close, for whatever's left in the month, right? So if you're closing at the beginning of the month, your prepaid interest is going to be a lot higher than what it is at the end of the month, because you only have maybe 1 or 2 days of interest left in that month. So like in this case, we're at this point, we're in the middle of the month. That's why you have about 13 days left, right? But let's say we needed more funds available. So we needed to lower this prepaid interest to lower cash to close, let's say. We could just be like, hey, look, we're short $300-400. We need to extend it a few days, but that'll get us where we need to, and we'll be all good to go, right? So it's a nice little extra tool for those people that really need every dollar. You just do a closing towards the end of the month, and then lowers their cash to close there a little bit. And then just section G is just home insurance and property taxes, and those you'll see later on the CD. Those will get adjusted as well, and we just kind of estimate it depending, what the house value is. And then survey fee and any additional stuff, like you got a realtor broker fee, anything like that, will go under other. And then under section J, so this is where we're talking about with the lender credits. So any credit that the lender is actually giving out, well, that's where you'll see it. Any credit. Now, like I said, in my case, for example, I usually pay that $9.95 fee on my commission, but that's different. That's me paying it, not the actual lender. So that's why you can see that. That'll just come off and I get invoiced for it later. And then here you'll just see kind of like the APR, which in this case, it's a little bit higher than the actual interest rate due to the VA funding fee getting rolled into the loan. Okay, so that's why APR is just any fees essentially rolled into the loan. And then there will tell you for you guys, if you're looking to potentially sell the house down the road or list it for them, it'll tell you if it has a similar mortgage or not there as well. So now we get to the CD. So on the CD, for the most part, most information should remain the same, other than the numbers changing, but everything else should be the same. As far as terms, as far as the loan amount, should be the same. Interest rate shouldn't change at that point. Monthly, it should change. If anything, go down, not up, because maybe home insurance a little bit less, right? So something else I explained to them, I try and overestimate the home insurance, make sure the monthly gets a little bit lower for them. And then you'll see here on the cash to close, and it'll be a lot less than what we originally thought. And like I said, on this one, I was super surprised with the cash to close. And then CD, really what changes is just the format of it. It's a little bit more like an alt-up, so it's a little bit easier for you guys to read if you need to help the buyers out. Or and then on this one, actually, we hadn't even put the appraisal fee out. So anything that's seller paid here through concessions, because we had 3% concession here, you'll see it there, that it gets moved to the right-hand side, which in this one was even the final one, it's not even with the appraisal. But You see the numbers got adjusted, everything kind of dropped. And then here's kind of gives you just a brief summary. So this is where you can kind of go in and make sure your numbers look right, especially with seller credits. So you see they kind of match any adjustments that were made there. And this is really where you can kind of see compared to the Alta between this page and the previous page and make sure that everything lines up and there's no mistakes made. And the same thing here, just kind of shows you the loan assumption, if your loan is escrowed, things like that. And on this page, you will have, and then on this page, they would have the information as far as the APR information. Again, you see it dropped on this one a little bit. Same thing, I was trying to do worst case scenario up front, so people are happier as we get towards closing. That way, the deal doesn't fall apart, like I've heard with some other people. And then contact information there. You have the lenders, myself, the realtors, and the title company. That way, if they need to reach out to anybody, it's all there for them. And I want to go back real quick. I forgot one thing on this page. I want to share. So under other, very important to you guys, is the your commission as well. So that's how you know your commission is right. So in this case, they were each getting 3%, and that's why it says $10,320 for each realtor there. And then there's a bonus topic, but before we get into that, any questions on that end, or Maggie, you want to interject with the CDs? I know you want to.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do my side because I've got some information.